Thank you guys for organizing this event for International Workers' Memorial Day. This year is the 30th anniversary of the Union Carbide gas disaster in Bhopal. It's the world's largest industrial disaster so far. How many of you are familiar with the company Union Carbide, now owned by Dow Chemical? 500,000 people were exposed to the gas, and to date, somewhere between 20 to 25,000 people have died. And what's worse is that we're seeing second-generation effects. So children born to parents who were exposed to the Union Carbide gas are now 7 times more likely to be born with birth defects and severe neurological defects. So this is an ongoing issue. Union Carbide left lots of their chemicals at their abandoned plant, and those bins rusted out. They also had a practice of disposing of their chemical waste in what they called solar evaporation ponds. Does anybody know what a solar evaporation pond is? It means that you dump your chemicals out on the ground and you let the sun dry it up and you let it leak down into the ground. That's a solar evaporation pond. So all of their toxic chemicals have contaminated the groundwater for the surrounding area. And it's only been last year that that community got clean water piped in to their community. So until then, they really just had to resort to drinking the contaminated water. So Steve mentioned the after effects of this disaster, which are immense and are still being addressed. People are still trying to get justice. But even before the event took place, before the gas disaster took place, in 1976, there were unions in Bhopal complaining about pollution at the plant. So the disaster happened in 1984, so many years in advance. In 1981, there was a worker there who was splashed with phosgene. I don't know if you're familiar with phosgene. It's basically a chemical that was used as a chemical weapon in World War I. And it's very, very toxic. It burns your lungs, essentially, and so you can't breathe. So this worker was exposed to phosgene, which is used or can be used to make the pesticide that was being manufactured at this company. Actually, Bayer, our very own Bayer here, was also manufacturing the same pesticide, but they were using a phosgene-free chemical mixture or a chemical reaction to create the same pesticide. But in India, they decided to use the phosgene. And so this worker was splashed with phosgene, and he took off his mask and died, 3 days later. That was in 1981. In 1982, January of 1982, there was another phosgene leak, and that exposed 24 workers, and all of them were also admitted to hospital. But what's terrible is that none of the workers were required to wear any respiratory protection while working with the phosgene. So then in 1982, they had another leak of methyl isocyanate, which was the chemical that eventually is considered to be responsible for the Union Carbide gas disaster, which is methyl isocyanate, shortened to MIC. So 18 workers were exposed at that incident. There was another incident in August 1982 where a worker got in contact with liquid methyl isocyanate and had 30% of his body burned. And another methyl isocyanate leak in October of 1982 caused 2 workers to have severe chemical burns again. And then in 1983 and 1984, there were actually 3 leaks of a mixture of methyl isocyanate, chlorine, monomethylamine, and phosgene and carbon tetrachloride. And these were like the precursor leaks that foretold or foreshadowed the major 1984 disaster. And when the 1984 disaster finally took place, there were several safety mechanisms that had been that were not working, but one of them was the alarm system to detect gas leaks, and that had been shut off because it had been going off too frequently. So I didn't come here to be a downer, but I'm saying that usually there are things that are like small events that are occurring and people are ignoring and not taking care of. And it happened at the Chevron refinery fire as well, is that people noted a leak, they called the inspectors recommended that it be fixed, and it didn't get fixed. That happened here too. So Steve had brought up the issue of OSHA inspectors and the lack of OSHA inspectors, and I really think that this is currently a national issue, that we do not have a mechanism in place to ensure that the workplace is a safe place to work, whether it's due to bullying, whether it's due to chemical exposures, whether, I think we barely saved the ergonomic standards, did we? We barely saved the ergonomic standards, but they were on the chopping block too. So, but at the same time, now with the Affordable Care Act, we've, the CDC is creating a team of trainers to go out to train employers on how to foster workplace wellness programs. And workplace wellness, I think it's a great idea. It's basically getting people to live a healthier lifestyle, encouraging people to eat healthier, to get more exercise, to sleep better, to stop smoking. These are major contributors to our nation's health, and the idea is that the workplace offers a captive audience and that you can educate people and inspire people and motivate people and create a community of people that are living a healthier lifestyle. So I went to one of these Train the Trainer events, and what I asked the CDC official that was there was, well, what about just the basic injuries and illnesses that are being caused by the workplace? And I think it's in the works to like combine the programs so that there is a concerted effort to get worker safety and workers' injuries and worker illness protection, fatalities protection, prevention. But there's a really big emphasis to also include workers' wellness, which would include things like stress and mental health. So I'm Jayshree Chander, and I'm a practicing physician here in the city. I work at Tom Waddell, and I'm going to be starting work at a state prison as well. And I also have a nonprofit called Beyond Holistic, and we are holding an event in December 2nd through the 7th, in commemoration of the 30th anniversary of the Union Carbide gas disaster. We'll be showing some films. We'll be having some panel discussions. Might like to invite you to come and talk to us about clean living, clean living, chemical-free living, yeah, I invite you all to attend, and you can go to beyondholistic.org, beyondholistic.org, beyondholistic.org for the event details. I also have a podcast about prioritizing well-being, and you can listen to that podcast or read my articles at neijingnow.org, neijingnow.org.